Hello, I am headed to Nantucket. Being a Boston gal, I grew up going to Nantucket every summer to visit my aunt at her house on the island. And she texted my mom and I this week and she said, "Do you guys want to come to the island on Friday?" Twist my arm. Let me just grab my Potato Express bag and I'm on the way. Hey, if you're new here, I'm Healthy Emmie. I am a nutritionist, I'm a weight loss specialist, and the creator of the Slim on Starch program, where you work with me as well as a mindset coach and a nutrition coach to lose weight on a plant-based diet, and I am headed to Nantucket. I'm just so excited. My cheeks hurt because I'm excited and I'm smiling. So let's talk food. What do we do in these situations when we are going to somebody's house and we eat differently than the host? A lot of my clients very much struggle in these situations, which I'm very empathetic to because I can understand that when somebody's hosting you, you don't want to act like they're your servant and they're your maid. And oh, I have this dietary restriction and this and that and the other. So in these situations, I like to make it easy for the person that I'm staying with. And I always say, don't worry about food. I got the food thing settled. Now, if you're in a situation where the person does want to cook for you, which is very common when people are hosting, don't make it a riddle for them where you say, oh, I'm vegan, I'm on starch solution, I'm doing the Slim on Starch program, I can't have oil, I can't have this, nope, fish, I can't have eggs, I can't have all that. Then they're like, what can you have? This is a New York Times crossword puzzle trying to figure out what it is that I can actually feed this person. So instead, if this is a situation where somebody is cooking for you and they want to make you something, tell them what you can have. Send them a recipe. Can you bake potatoes for me? Can you make a fruit salad? Tell them what it is that you love to have and can have so they go, okay, I can do this. Sending a recipe is really the easiest way. So let me tell you what I'm bringing to Nantucket. I'm actually flying because I'm watching planes take off from Boston Logan Airport right now. I could swim across the harbor right to the airport. I'm so close to the airport that it's just so easy to just fly to Nantucket, which is gonna be a first for me. I always grew up taking the ferry, the slow ferry. There's a fast ferry and a slow ferry, and we always took the slow ferry. So for me to be jet setting to Nantucket, I feel like I've made it. Coming from, started from the bottom on the slow ferry, never even made it to the fast ferry, and now we're here. Thank you, JetBlue. So I'm gonna be flying in early tomorrow morning. The time that I'm getting on the plane, to be honest, is, I take off at 9, and for me to not have eaten by then, that's gonna be a little bit, because I do like to eat in the morning. I don't wanna be starving. But it's kind of an awkward time where if I eat before I go, I'll be rushing, I'll eat too fast. I don't wanna get into that territory, and I wanna make sure I make my flight. And also, the flight is so quick. It's a 50-minute flight from Boston to Nantucket that it's not a big deal if I don't eat before I get on the plane. So I thought about it. I thought, should I eat before I go? Should I not eat before I go? If I was a new Slim on Starcher, if I was just starting the program, eat before you go. There could be a delay, there could be fog on Nantucket. You have no idea what's gonna happen once you get to that airport. The airport is like the twilight zone. It's a black hole. Crazy things happen there. You could be stuck on the runway for hours. But I feel I trust myself so much around food that I'm not gonna go to Dunkin' Donuts and buy, a strawberry frosted donut if my flight is delayed. All of that being said, I'm not going to make food before I go and I'm not going to eat before I go. If I were in a situation where it was a long flight or I was going a little bit later, I would make food before I go to the airport, but I'm not gonna. Bear, come on, man. Trying to sabotage my trip because he is very sad that he's not going. Which brings me to my next point, which is I got a new backpack for travel. The backpack that I was using was not big enough, and I would bring so much food on the plane that my backpack wasn't big enough. And what I love about this backpack is it's probably the biggest that you can get away with for carry-on. And what I love in particular is I wanted one that stretches out horizontally quite far because usually I put food in here and I don't like when the food turns sideways and then it's all falling to one side of the container. Do you know what I'm saying? I want to be able to put the container in my backpack and have it sit properly. So I'll link this backpack that I got on Amazon. I'll link it in the down bar. And this is my new travel backpack because it stretches so wide, but also you can make it smaller if you pull the buckle on it. So this is my new travel backpack, which on my way home from Nantucket, I'm probably going to put some potatoes in here because my flight is around 2 o'clock. Or maybe I'll just eat before I go. We'll see. You're coming with me to Nantucket. So what am I bringing, but more importantly, how am I going to navigate the food thing? So my aunt actually texted and said, do you guys want to go out to dinner on Friday night? And I texted back, and my mom is so sweet. She's like, my mom will do anything. She never wants to inconvenience anybody. And she's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go out to dinner? And I go, why don't we offer to make dinner? And so I texted back and I said, how about we make dinner? And she said, wonderful. So you might think, oh my goodness, she wants to go out to dinner. There's a name of a principle that my boyfriend's sister talks about, and it's basically this. There's this principle that you think that you're doing a favor for somebody, and the other person thinks that they're doing a favor for you, but really neither of you want to do it. For example, this is a great example. My aunt saying, do you guys want to go out to dinner, when she doesn't want to go out to dinner, but she thinks that we want to, and we don't want to go out to dinner, but we think she wants to, so we both end up going, and neither of us actually want to go, but we're not clearly communicating with one another. So that is a principle, by the way, which is why clear, honest, open communication is always the name of the game. So I texted back and I said, how about I make dinner? And so I'm gonna make us dinner tomorrow night. So how am I navigating that? Well, Instacart is a beautiful thing, and I used Instacart to order all of the groceries for my chili recipe to my aunt's door. So I texted my mom and my aunt today, and I said, can't wait for tomorrow. Groceries for tomorrow's dinner will be delivered between 4 and 7 p.m. to her address. You do not need to be home. Just please put them in the fridge whenever you get home. So the groceries are gonna be there. And I always, if you are going to do this, I recommend that you Instacart it for the night before you arrive, because sometimes with Instacart, they can't find certain things. And so you don't want to be caught in that pickle the day that you do arrive. So my groceries are all there, ready to go, so I don't have to bring anything along. But I am bringing some things along. So what am I bringing with me? The beautiful potato. You can live on potatoes alone so long as you're getting enough vitamin D and vitamin B12. Do I suggest that you live on potatoes alone? That is not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is this. When I go to Nantucket on a Friday and I return home on a Saturday, it's okay if all I've eaten is potatoes in my chili recipe and corn. I will not die. I'm gonna be back the next day. So I went to my favorite Asian market yesterday where the sweet potatoes were about 88 cents a pound. They call me the potato girl there. And I got me a bunch of Japanese sweet potatoes, and I'm just going to pack these in my suitcase. So I have a bunch, I just picked up literally a ton of Japanese sweet potatoes. I think I picked up, it was $7.50 and they were like 88 cents a pound. I got like 8.5 pounds of Japanese sweet potatoes, and I'm gonna pack these away in my suitcase. And then the only other thing that I'm bringing with me food-wise is my Potato Express bag. Pro tip that I learned the hard way a couple months ago when I went up to Vermont for my boyfriend's family had a gathering there. And the Airbnb that we stayed at didn't have a microwave. Microwave is my love language. So I made sure to text my aunt and I said, just to double check, do you have a microwave? And she said yes. So all I'm bringing with me food-wise is uncooked Japanese sweet potatoes, which are gonna go in my luggage, and my Potato Express bag. Otherwise, the ingredients for the chili that I'm gonna be making tomorrow night are arrived. They're already at my aunt's house. I just ordered them and I just got the notification that they were delivered. And also corn on the cob. So I ordered some corn on the cob for us as well. So that's my plan food-wise. Tomorrow, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to arrive in Nantucket, and then I'm just going to take some of these sweet potatoes, I'm gonna pop them into my potato express bag, put them in the microwave, and I will eat those. And I'm gonna eat my way through potatoes the whole time I'm there. I'll take you with me and see if we come across anything else. I'm sure, there might be some fruit, or I will see you tomorrow. Hello, I'm fresh-faced and I'm in Nantucket. The plane ride was 19 minutes, which is wild. Coming from being a ferry girl, I'm bent over. I'm in such a funny position right now, but I'm gonna eat a little bit, I'm gonna meditate, and we're gonna head to the beach. So we've just arrived, and it's so nice to be able to open up the fridge and everything that we need is in here. So you can see the peppers, the onions, romaine lettuce, corn on the cob, and my aunt is so sweet. She got us watermelon, and I already took out, because she said, I got you red grapes. And so I took them out to put them at room temp. And I'm actually gonna have some of these right now. So this nectarine is nice and soft, which means it's ripe and ready to eat. I just washed it, so I'm gonna eat that. And I'm also going to have some of these red grapes. Healthy Mummy brought with her her little fruit bag. And we are gearing up to go to the beach with watermelon. Before we head to the beach, I'm going to heat up some of my potatoes. So I've got my potato express bag. I'm just gonna pop them in here and put them into the microwave. Then we were off to the beach, the beautiful Cisco Beach in Nantucket, where we sat and just talked, the three of us. I brought my Japanese sweet potatoes and I had my romaine lettuce along with it. This is one of my favorite combinations. My aunt and Healthy Mummy had brought veggie sandwiches, so they had those. And once again, just because you are eating differently doesn't mean that you can't still enjoy the time together, enjoy the beach, enjoy the smells of the ocean, enjoy the conversation. It's okay for the food to look a little bit different. There's my beautiful aunt on the left and Healthy Mummy on the right, loving my Japanese sweet potatoes. In my mind, there is nothing better in this world than being on the beach, eating a food that I love, that tastes delicious and makes me feel amazing. Back from the beach, and now gonna have some more potatoes and lettuce. Just threw these guys in the microwave per usual. Thank you, Potato Express bag. Getting back from the beach, it was time for the absolute best time of day, which is the post-beach shower. Who's with me? Is there any better time of day than when you get back from the beach, you take a nice shower, and you just feel refreshed? Best feeling ever. But I also needed some fuel at this time. It was a little bit later. It was about 3 o'clock, but we were actually going to my aunt's art opening. My aunt is an incredible artist on Nantucket. You can follow her on Instagram at Carol Keefe Art. She is really, really talented. If you're on Nantucket looking for some paintings, she's your gal. But in any event, we were going to her art opening at around 5 o'clock that evening. And then we were going to come back and I was going to make dinner for all of us. And so I knew, okay, let me think about this. We're not going to get home until maybe 7 o'clock, and then I need to start the dinner for everybody, so we might not be eating till later. So I need to make sure that I eat right now. I am a little bit hungry, and I need to make sure I eat enough so that when we go to this art opening and they're passing around hors d'oeuvres, that I feel good to go. I feel satiated, and I'm not tempted by any of those foods. So I had some more potatoes and romaine lettuce. Again, I could live off of this, never gets old. And I chatted with my mom while she did her knitting, just catching up and enjoying this quality time with one another. And she was not eating at this time, which again, I always want to remind you of. Different bodies, different paths. It's okay if I'm eating and she's not eating, and it's okay if she's eating and I'm not eating. After all, we are just animals, and animals need to eat. It's okay if I'm drinking water and somebody else isn't drinking water. It's okay if I use the bathroom and somebody else doesn't use the bathroom, and vice versa. Eating is not such a big deal. We fuel up when we need the fuel. Awesome. Move on with the rest of the day. After the art opening, we got back and it was time to make dinner. So I am making the world's famous Slim on Starch chili. I thought this would be perfect to have with corn in the cob from the farm this summer. So my aunt went and got some corn. I actually ordered some corn on Instacart, but she went to the farm that morning and said this is farm fresh. It was literally on the field today. We have to eat this. It's going to be so delicious. So I put these ladies to work and I assigned everybody a certain veggie. So Healthy Mummy did some of the peppers. My aunt cut up some of the onions, and I started by water sauteing those along with a cut up sweet potato and some cut up celery. So just in a big pot, I combined each of the bell peppers, an entire red onion, 8 ounces of celery chopped, and 1 large, actually orange sweet potato. I use orange sweet potato in the chili, and I just sort of water sauteed this for about 5 to 7 minutes. I also added in a can of crushed tomatoes and a can of diced tomatoes, no salt added. And then I ended up adding in another can of crushed tomatoes, just so that it would be the right consistency. I also added in a mix of spices here. This is a tablespoon of chili powder, oregano, cumin, and garlic powder. And then I added in a can of black beans and a can of pinto beans. And I just let that cook over the stove for about 45 minutes. Then we enjoyed this lovely dinner outside. This is a core memory, being outside, freshly faced, after a shower, enjoying this delicious chili and corn on the cob. And my aunt and my mom each had a bowl, and I had 2 bowls. And my aunt said, for such a little person, you can eat so much. And it's so true that the more you eat, the smaller you are. You know, you make the food calorically dilute and you eat larger portions and you're a smaller person. So when people make comments about what you're eating or how much you're eating, you get to choose how you want to react to it. And when she said that to me, I said, thank you. It's such a joy to be able to eat so much food. You know, watch out when it comes to me and my chili. I can put this down. And I say it with a big smile on my face. My aunt actually asked for the recipe for the chili. So and I cannot tell you how good this corn on the cob was. Oh my goodness. All we did was boil it. So I put it into a big pot and boiled it for about 5 minutes and then just left it in the warm water. It was so sweet. Didn't add anything to it. I did put some salt on the table so that my aunt could add salt if she wanted to, and Healthy Mummy could add salt if she wanted to, but I didn't want any salt. So it was there on the table so that it could be added to the surface of the food. So I just went on my morning run. It was absolutely beautiful, and now I'm going to have these farm fresh nectarines. I actually saw a stand when I was on my run, and it was super cool. It was the honor system with payment, so I just stole them. No, I'm completely kidding. You could pay via Venmo. But anyway, I have these nectarines, and they're nice and soft, and I'm just so excited. I just washed them and dried them, of course, because Lord knows where these people's hands have been. And now I'm going to enjoy these in the sun.
All good, just laundry and paddleboards.
And by the way, you want your fruit to be squishy, your nectarines especially, any of the stone fruits. If they're not squishy, if they're still hard, then they're not good yet. And I know we might think squishy fruit is gross, but actually this is the ripe stuff. All right, we had a very nice morning, and now I'm having some lunch, I guess you could label it as. I'm just eating food, that's all it is. So I have cooked up all of these beautiful Japanese sweet potatoes. I have my romaine, and I will enjoy. So I've just arrived back home from Nantucket, and it was so fulfilling, so many primary foods. Remember, primary foods are the things that nourish your soul. They're not the foods that are on our plate. And so the primary food of spending time with my mom and with my aunt was so fulfilling. It releases that hormone oxytocin, which is the hormone that bonds us, a very important hormone to feel as humans, to feel that connection with others. And you can't get that from food, right? Food doesn't have arms that reach out and hug you. And to be able to hug my aunt and to be with my mom releases these feel-good hormones, which are just so important to feel. I choose to stay SOS in these scenarios. I just want to feel my best physically. I want to feel like myself. I want to feel grounded. I want to feel present. So I can smell the ocean. I can hear the ocean. I can feel the sand on my feet. I can feel the sun on my skin. I can see the sights of beautiful Nantucket. I don't want the artificial stimulation from food to rob me of those experiences. There are some people that appreciate the taste of the food as part of that experience. And if that is what works for them, you do you. Different strokes for different folks, different bodies, different paths. And I am not going to shoot down what somebody else does. I respect that people choose to carry themselves differently. But for those that want my help and want to free themselves from the chains that artificial stimulation from food can bring us through these hyper-palatable, highly processed foods, consider this. Consider how heightened your 4 other senses can be when your food is not robbing you of all those other senses. Here's the good news too. My food is still absolutely delicious. I do have a foodgasm for my Japanese sweet potatoes. Honest to God, my hand to God, these foods taste incredible to me, and your palate can adjust. There is a common shared misbelief, which is that if you don't have these hyper-palatable, highly stimulating foods, you'll never get joy from food again. So there's the misbelief that, oh my goodness, when I have this food, it gives me such a hit of dopamine that when I have lettuce or when I have potatoes or when I have apples, I don't feel that high that I get from food, which I totally understand because all you can sense is the gap between these two things. But consider this, for me, because I'm properly calibrated, I'm not miscalibrated, because I don't have that constant overstimulation and that huge shot of dopamine from the hyperstimulating foods, and I take that out of play, the amount of dopamine that my brain releases when I have just normal SOS foods is exactly what nature intended. And so I experience stimulation and pleasure from SOS foods. Like I said, my hand to God. And if you feel, oh, I could never do that. Like, Emmie, I don't know how you enjoy potatoes and Brussels sprouts and zucchini. I could just never do that. Let's be careful of that language. Your brain is listening when you say, I could never do that. I personally did not eat something green until I was 18 or 19 years old. I would eat ketchup sandwiches. That was the closest I got to a vegetable, was the Heinz ketchup in my white bread, Heinz ketchup, white bread ketchup sandwich. So if I was able to recalibrate my taste buds, I assure you that you can do the same. And if you say that you can't, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you are right. We need to shape this language here in a way that's more productive. How are you helping yourself by saying, I'll never be able to do that? What? Let me shoot you straight here, honey. Why are you even watching this video then? You're watching this video because there's that little glimmer of hope that you can do this too, or you already are doing it and you just like seeing somebody that's doing the same, or you're on your journey to get here and this inspires you. So every single person that's watching this video, no matter what that voice inside your head says, there's another voice inside your head that's saying, I think I can do this. You're allowed to have those mixed emotions. To go off on a total tangent here, you are not the voice inside your head. The voice inside your head might say to you, it might suggest you can't do this, but you get to decide whether or not you want to subscribe to that. All right, so let's remember that. I had a wonderful time. It's good to be home. My body might play a little bit of catch up tomorrow. I might be a little bit hungrier tomorrow because I didn't eat as much as I normally do in a day when I was there. That's the beautiful thing about eating whole food plant-based and trusting your body is I don't have to micromanage it. My body's gonna take care of it. Tonight, I'm gonna eat some more potatoes probably and some vegetables, and then I'll wake up tomorrow, and if my hunger is heightened tomorrow, I'm just gonna roll with it. And it's so beautiful that I can trust my body to do that, which you can do when you eat a slim on starch diet. So if you appreciate this mindset around food, and this is a mindset that you strive to have, but you're having trouble getting there, please do apply to work with me by clicking the link in the down bar. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched this video all the way to the end, I want to know that you are a homie of mine. So I'm gonna ask you to comment magic, because I just think of Nantucket Island as pure magic. And there's a little bit of magic in you too. I love you, honeys, and I'll see you in my next video.